Welcome back to the Show of Requirement Harry Potter podcast, a podcast exclusively on all of your listening forms and fashions. And we're also on YouTube. It's me, Spencer. I'm joined by David and Abby. I was going to say the original trio, but technically we started with me and David. And then we added Abby, and then we added Cole. Unfortunately, Ringo is not with us today. But at least we have Paul and John and the other one. Oh, George. Abby's George. That's right.
At least I'm not Fred.
I'm just perpetuating the joke forever. Oh my gosh. No. And now
Too soon.
And too soon. Way to bring it back Harry Potter though, and away from the Beatles. This is the second episode of the Half-Blood Prince read through. A good book. Yeah. If you don't think this is a good book, shut up. This is a great book.
Which apparently is a ton of people.
Apparently, a lot of people. I don't think people hate it. I see people say it's meh.
Which that's still, to me, meh equals hate. Okay, like meh equals hate.
We've talked about it at length last week.
We did.
Yes, but it's my favorite book. Probably, it depends. But
it's my favorite one we've read so far.
It's just so good. JK was batting 1,000, but we are in the second section. So if you have not listened to the first part, we do it in 6 chapter sections. I know David's making the if you weren't listening to last week, what are you doing here?
Get off!
And go back and listen to last week.
20 points from whichever house you belong to.
Oh, it's probably Hufflepuff. Anyway, we're on chapters 6 through 12, or 7. Draco's Detour last week.
Yeah, we did
7
Draco's
through 12
Detour last week, so it's 7 through 12. Yeah.
So we're on the Slug Club through Silver and Opals. David and I were talking about this. Some of the chapter titles are a little bit not misleading, but I get them mixed up personally. So I always think the Half-Blood Prince is Felix Felicis, and Felix Felicis is something else. And then I get the Slug Club mixed up with the Christmas Party and all those things. What do you guys think about this section of the book?
I'm trying to remember looking at chapter title.
I thought it was great just to be introduced to some different characters, especially seeing Neville and Luna and Harry. As far as I know, he's not embarrassed about them anymore. Because even there was some fourth years that came in and be like, Harry, why don't you come hang out with us and leave these guys? And Harry's just like, nope, these are my friends.
Non-YouTube people are missing out at David doing the fourth years. Ooh, Harry.
Harry. So I appreciate that. One notable distinction on page 136.
Ooh, we're doing page numbers now.
Yep. Harry says this. This is what happens to Harry. He tapped Ginny on the shoulder. Fancy trying to find a compartment? I can't, Harry. I said I'm meeting Dean, said Ginny brightly. See you later. Right, said Harry. He felt a strange twinge of annoyance as she walked away, her long red hair dancing behind her. He had become so used to her presence over the summer that he had almost forgotten that Ginny did not hang out around with him, Ron, and Hermione while at school.
It's just the beginning. They just lay... Yes. It's she's just laying bricks and mortar, and then she puts up a whole wall at one point. And I'm a sap. I love it. Maybe that's why people is that why people don't like this? The Ginny Harry haters.
Why people like Abby don't like it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I do feel like it was, and to be fair,
People think it was
Yeah,
sudden,
it's-
but I'm like, we're in chapter 7 of 30.
well, but I
They're
think
basically
it felt
snogging already.
okay, but it felt sudden. If you take into account the entire book series, it all started happening in one book.
I think they
At
were
least-
laying
Mm,
some
this
groundwork.
is a
might
great
have
topic.
been, but I
This is a
think
great lasagna topic.
really, it just really expedited within.
There's
this
3 more
book,
minutes on the
you
oven.
know?
So
It-
I think the reason
I will say, out of like all the books, I think this may be the one that I've read the least amount of times, just because I don't
Shame.
usually when I start the series. Sometimes I make it through the first like 3 or 4, and
That's
then don't
fair.
make it through the rest. And then sometimes I
I
just
agree
skip
with
and
you.
read the Deathly Hallows just because I feel like it. And so
I
I don't
don't do
often
that.
make it to 6.
I don't do that. I don't put myself through that, Abby. Picking up Deathly Hallows, that's a madman's decision or mad woman's decision.
Let's be honest.
is
You
the-
just read like the last half of the Deathly Hallows, or
Yeah.
that's what I do
I like
every
I
now
like
and then when
the-
I feel like it.
I like the tent stuff. I still say it. Deathly Hallows Part 1 is my favorite movie. Apparently that's a hot take too. I think Prisoner of Azkaban and Half-Blood Prince are the only 2 books that I've picked up without being in continuity. Like, I think there was at least once where I just sat and read through all of Half-Blood Prince again by itself. But I've
Yeah.
seen the movie 10 million times. So,
Fair.
yeah, this is the first option. To kind of backtrack just a little bit, so Abby, where we're at in the story, kind of the timeline of things, and this is for listeners too. If you're not reading along, that's totally fine. Slug Club, we are on the Hogwarts Express, right?
Yep.
Snape victorious. Snape gets the DADA job. Half-Blood Prince is the first very iconic scene we'll talk about in a second, where Harry makes the drought of living death, as Jim Broadbent says it.
I will
perfectly.
say, Spencer, I
Mhm.
agree with your take that he makes you love Slughorn
Yeah.
as a character.
Mhm.
Because then
I-
when you
I-
read him in the book, you're like, this
It's not
doesn't
the
hit
same.
the same.
It doesn't
not
hit
the
It's
the
not the
same.
same.
House of Gaunt is Harry and Dumbledore's first trip in the Pensieve.
I
Hermione's
did
helping
really like
hand
that
is
chapter.
Hermione's helping hand is Quidditch tryouts, among other things.
Mhm.
I can't read
Visiting
that
Hagrid
chapter.
also.
I can't read that chapter without hearing dun 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 dun. That music is just, I think it's just eternal loop. And then Silver and Opals is the cursed necklace.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
back into the Slug Club, yeah. I think also, and I'm just gonna go say it, Slughorn is described as so overweight in the
Mhm.
books, like obscenely so. It makes sense why like Broadbent can't do that. Like they didn't have to do that kind of take on the character.
Mhm.
But I think it's really, I like when they're like, you don't have to sit next to these people, and Harry's like,
Yeah.
these are my friends. Well, and Luna just before it said like, I don't really have friends.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like the movie's interpretation though too, where Harry's like, I'm your friend, Luna. That's nice.
Yeah. And I guess this is my hot take for the podcast. Like, other than
My
in
hot take
one
is the
scene,
lasagna in the oven that I
That's
have
right.
to go save.
but my
Continue.
hot take is that except for the one scene in the Order of the Phoenix, up to this point, I guess I just don't understand why people love the book Her. I think the movie Luna is great and fantastic, and I think they made some changes. But the way that J.K. Rowling apparently writes her favorite character, which is Luna Lovegood, that she already had in the works before Harry Potter, I'm just not getting the whole like I'm not loving her. She's just kind of there.
Mhm.
Like Neville, it's not specifically in the Slug Club, even though he does, he gets invited because of who his father and mother were
Right.
and that sort of thing. But like Neville, he comes into the story, and I'm just like, man, I love Neville. He's great, even though I didn't necessarily love him in the earlier books when he was
Mhm.
kind of a dork, kind of like the running joke. But with Luna, I don't know. I'm not. I don't know what Spencer's doing. That's gonna be on the TikTok for sure. He just
I blew a kiss at my beautiful lasagna. It came together.
For a
you know?
minute, to me, it looked like what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
No,
like
no,
it looked
no,
like
it wasn't
something
supposed
went
to be
It
that.
wrong.
looked like you were
That's
in
what it
utter
looked
shock
like.
of
No,
what
no,
happened
it
to
was
your
like
lasagna.
supposed to go
That's
like
hilarious.
a little
That's so
circle.
funny.
I didn't know you guys could see me.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw you. Like
I was-
that's
I was
that's
gonna
definitely
carry it
going
o-
on.
I was
That's
gonna
going
carry it
on the
over.
Gazebo Fat Network Facebook page, like to say, "Hey,
I was-
new episodes out." Like,
I was
we're
gonna
totally,
carry
I'm
it
totally
over
doing that.
just to show the podcast the
Yeah,
beautiful lasagna
the
I made,
lasagna.
and that I have that in me, because sometimes
Mhm.
men can't do things, and I can do some things. But it was so hot. Just like I was like barely.
It's a
I
hot
almost burned my
lasagna.
hand. Yeah.
That lasagna's
David,
so
I
hot,
heard what you
Spencer.
said when I was getting the lasagna out of the oven, and I just started hearing David say atrocities.
I just don't get it. I just
You're
don't.
wrong. You're wrong. Luna's great
What?
in the books. She's great in the movies. I would
I agree. She's great in the movies, but like other than the one scene at the end of the Order of the Phoenix, she has done nothing but say weird stuff. To this point,
That's what Luna does.
I guess I don't like Luna then.
She's also
I'm sorry.
going to
She's
be
another
the,
bunty.
no, absolutely
She's another
not.
bunty.
David,
I like
I'm gonna
Bunty, but
cry.
even I'll admit Luna's not a Bunty.
That's true. I put Bunty
Luna
above
hasn't.
Luna. at this
Luna's
point.
best moment in this book is when she becomes the Quidditch announcer.
Are you telling? Did you
And
just
that
say that
hasn't
you
happened
put
yet.
Bunty above Luna?
I did say that. I did say
It's
that.
wrong.
Okay, because here's why. I'm watching the Secrets of Dumbledore. Like I'm kind of like watching it in spurts, like whenever I have time. Bunty's just great in that movie. She's fantastic. Like I'm starting
You're
to
coming around?
I'm starting to come around.
Wow.
Hi, Isabel. Yeah, I'm just starting to come around. Finally. But I thought Slug Club was pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was a cool little chapter. I guess what's his name? Sabini? Is that his name? Zabini? Seems like a trash character that we can all hate, and I love that.
Doesn't he die?
Notice how the movies he kind of replaces Goyle.
Uh-huh.
You guys remember why?
Yes.
The actor that plays Goyle is like a convicted criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Threw a Molotov cocktail at a protest or something terrible.
Wow.
And not
That's
great.
the biggest scandal that Harry Potter's had this entire time.
That is so much luck.
It definitely doesn't get worse than that.
Right.
Ever.
No.
But I think when JK says that Luna is her favorite character, also, are you guys talking about Fantastic Beasts? With scandals? Moving on.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're talking about all of those things.
I was thinking about the original Harry Potter series, and I'm like, what is bigger than that from that original
Nothing
series?
in the Wizarding World of
Nothing.
Harry Potter has been worse than this conviction ever. Everybody loves the author and everything.
That was my main thing.
That was her main point.
Yeah. J.K. Rowling saying she likes her favorite character is Luna Lovegood, I feel like is a lie.
It
some
better
level.
be, because I don't get it.
Well, it's not that even I don't get it. I just feel like every character, everyone loves Luna Lovegood. So of course she's gonna say she loves Luna Lovegood. but I
I
would say that
love
Dumbledore is
live
probably her
action.
favorite character.
Deal.
The way that she brings him back all the dang time
Yeah.
into the story. Rightfully so. He's awesome. But no, Luna's great. She hasn't done the Quidditch announcing yet, which is her best moment in this book.
Which is
and I
why I
think she's just
preface my
fun.
statement to this point. Up to this point, I don't get it.
I think she's fun in the
'Cause we
last
haven't
book.
gotten
I think
there
she's
yet.
great in this book when she's like she's part of the crew now. Even and she did have more of a role in the previous book than she does in this one. I will acknowledge.
I'm gonna say it.
What?
I'm gonna get canceled. But she's the Peter Pettigrew of this friend group.
That is so
David's
not true.
just I don't know what side of the bed you got on.
I'm
You got off,
wild.
not even
How-
on the wrong side of the
I haven't
bed.
had
You
ice
got
cream
off
yet,
on-
so
David got
Is there a
off on,
way
like,
for
the
us to
back side
kick
of the bed.
somebody out of the
well, you already
chat?
asked this question before, and then Spencer kicked me out, and then he messed up the whole recording.
Yeah.
Neville gets his new wand. We'd be bad Harry Potter
Yeah.
fans if we didn't bring that up.
Yes.
And it's not actually hand-me-down wands are always a bad idea.
I agree with that.
Always. And
Because Ron got one too, right? He had his hand
yes, he had
wand.
Charlie's old
Wands
wand.
can't be expensive, right? Because literally everybody needs them.
Needs one.
So like,
I bet it is in America.
well,
Inflation.
inflation.
Well, I feel like just capitalism. Be 1,000 galleons. What?
Yeah, why can't we all just share everything and be happy? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. And it's also the first time, and this was in the last section, but they were like, what are they going to do without Ollivanders? And they're like, they'll go to other wand makers. And it's like, hold on. There are other wand makers?
Yeah.
Grigorovich. But I guess there's other ones too. Bless you.
Thank you.
Plus.
But I just love Neville. We just get a little more Neville, and it openly acknowledges that, like, and normally I hate background information paragraphs, but this takes a good second for Harry to just, hey, I'm looking at this guy in a train. He could be the guy with the scar on the other side, or would he have the scar? Like that's a wild. Because like, would his mom have done the sacrifice just the right way to make the magic spell to protect Neville? And would that have all happened the same way? Raxpert. Raxpits. Your head's full of them. Important question. Do we like the book where Tonks rescues Harry? Or do we prefer Luna rescuing Harry?
I love more Tonks content. I was really disappointed whenever she did not save Harry in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like they felt obligated to bring back the fan favorite character into the mix more.
But
and
see,
because she doesn't have as much of a role
in my ranking of characters, Tonks ranks above Luna because I like Tonks better. And so
I think I
that's where my
agree with
disappointment
you.
came from. But
She's also she's a badger, you know?
yeah.
I have to put Tonks higher up there because of that. I can't tell if that's an agree shake of head or a disagree.
It looked like a
It's not.
disagree shake
like
of head.
only in the sense of for that reason she's above Luna. I think that's just house bias in my opinion. But I think that for what it is, it makes sense why they decided to do Luna instead of Tonks, since they didn't have even that earlier scene of Tonks at the burrow. Like she was not involved at all. It would have been really.
She shows up briefly at Christmas in the movie.
Yeah.
But she's kind of with Lupin already at that point.
She's with Lupin already.
They just kind of brush over that relationship.
Yeah. And so I think that's why they had Luna do it instead, because Tonks wasn't used. but I think Tonks being in the in the book, I think it's great and I think it's fantastic, and especially if they still are doing the Max reboot, I think this is going to be
An
great.
obvious
Great
change.
content.
Yeah, they definitely would do
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
that
Watcher,
time.
Harry.
Watcher.
Mhm.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know either.
No one
but
knows.
I like that. I will
I feel
say
like Sad Tonks wouldn't say Watcher, but I don't know enough about
true.
Watcher to know if she would just say
Okay,
it
I'm Googling
no matter
it.
what.
yeah. I will
Because
say
when I hear Watcher Harry, that sounds like a really positive connotation.
yeah.
But she's Sad Tonks right now.
Mhm.
Also, Harry like notes how he's like, I don't really like being with Sad Tonks right now. But they
Yeah.
clock it so wrong.
Mhm.
It's not about Sirius.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm not sure either.
Watcher is a contraction. Well, not really contraction. It's like if you push together, like, what are you up to? What are you doing? And so it's kind of like a greeting instead of saying like,
It's like,
what's up,
what's up?
Watcher?
Mhm.
Which again,
Yeah. Well, it looks like we just dived right into Snape Victorious because that's where that happens.
yes, Snape is a real turd to Tonks too.
Yes. But real quick,
Snape's
before we
always
move
a
on
turd,
too
though.
far,
Correct.
Draco in this has turned a corner. He's no longer that annoying kid who complains all the time and is just a whiny baby. Like this is like Draco Malfoy, the Death Eater. And
He still is
I
a whiny
really
baby.
not as much as
Not
before
yet.
though. Yeah, not yet. But this was
Yeah,
a really
he's
good
not like
scene
a,
for
wait till
him.
my father hears about this.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is a guy who's he's over Hogwarts at this point. And he, for the first time, I would say by himself, has one-upped Harry. And it's a great scene. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Lasagna.
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 No, it was about Draco. I mean, his dad's no longer in the picture. I remember now. No one believes Harry. Has he ever really been wrong except that one time that Voldemort directly tricked him?
No.
Maybe for once they could just
I did think that
believe
too. I was
Harry
like,
and
why
lock
does no
him
one
up.
believe him?
Or maybe someone
Mhm.
just check his arm. If he doesn't, he's got nothing to hide.
Right.
I think it's worth
know.
checking.
You would think that somebody would have checked.
Or Harry would have pulled on his sleeve in class and
Honestly, you'd think that when they had kids come in from break, they'd make them roll up all their sleeves and walk through the doors, you know? Kind of like a security check.
the security is not as good as we'd hoped, though, as we will move forward and find out.
Which is wild.
I think, Snape Victorious. How do we feel about Snape getting the DADA job?
You know, we like to talk about Dumbledore as being one of the greatest wizards of all time. He is probably one of the worst headmasters of all time.
Disagree.
Just based on his hiring job. Like
of Snape?
it's like of not finding the best people for the job. I mean, he has consistently missed and whiffed on every single defense against the dark arts teacher ever.
It's jinxed.
Except for Lupin. But everybody else, like he's brought in, like it's like, wow. Yeah, well, Barty Crouch Jr.
But Moody wasn't actually
But
there.
Moody would have been a good choice.
Yeah.
Probably.
But you know, it's just dumb. It's
I think
dumb.
it's jinxed.
I don't like it.
I think for all that Snape is as horrible as he is as a teacher, he might be a better defense against the dark arts teacher than he is
And
a
a potions
potions
master.
teacher.
Mm-hmm. I'll
'Cause he
agree with
can-
that.
I feel like he can do potions, but he can't necessarily teach potions. Versus like Slughorn sounds like someone that's a little more patient, appreciates
Mhm.
the art, he loves the subject. Like Slughorn holds potions in the same candor as Snape holds defense against the dark arts.
And I know we're not there yet, but if you even compare both of the lessons that they do with Slughorn and Potions, it's probably one of the best Potions classes that we've got to experience. And then even Defense Against the Dark Arts, Snape didn't do that bad of a job. I mean, obviously, he was
Honestly,
still
he did what
lowballing
Harry did.
Harry.
But he
Mhm,
did, as Hermione pointed out, he teaches like Harry does.
mhm. He said the
In his
I
exact
was
own
gonna
same
way.
thing.
say, I honestly don't hate Snape in the role of teaching defense against the dark arts. I mean, he's not a great human being in general, which makes it hard for him to be a teacher in general. But when you asked the question, how do we feel about him finally getting the position? Like, I was kind of like, I don't really care. He's still gonna suck and be a turd, but he'll probably do fine teaching.
I don't know where it is. I'm trying to, because he asked Ron to talk about what he missed, but I think that might have been just in the movie about the Sorting Hat.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to find it too.
Oh, the hat say anything interesting? More of the same, really, advising us all to unite in the face of our enemies, you know. But I love the movie where Ron goes, easy for it to say. It's a hat in
It's
it.
a hat, isn't it? It's great stuff.
Nearly Headless Nick getting his moment. I just love Jim
Mhm.
Dale's Nearly Headless Nick.
It's great.
Oh, that's a good
Good stuff.
Ron. That's a good Ron one-liner though, because he's like, "I would give my life to Harry Potter." Ron goes, "That's pretty. That doesn't mean much coming from you, given you're already dead."
Yeah.
So good.
I really need to listen to Jim Dale do one of the books.
I
Yeah.
like his more than whoever did Nearly Headless Nick in Hogwarts Legacy. Like the one in Hogwarts Legacy, it's just a bit annoying.
Well, because
If
the
I'm gonna
actor, I think the
listen-
actor passed
Yeah.
away.
If
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to Jim Dale narrate one of the Harry Potter books, which one do I listen to?
Oh man.
This one, Goblet of Fire.
Order of the Phoenix.
No.
He does a great Umbridge.
Yeah, but the more variety of characters, I feel like, is
Oh.
in this one. I
Mhm.
think this one has
Yeah.
the most characters in one book.
It does, because we also get like flashback characters too, like from the Pensive.
And he does Tom Riddle, he does Voldemort, he does
Yeah.
Slughorn, he does Snape.
McGonagall, the Dursleys,
Nearly Headless-
Hagrid,
Nearly Headless
Nearly
Nick.
Headless Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's it.
Okay.
Abby, were you listening when I talked about Jim Dale's process?
Yes.
Ridiculousness.
It's wild.
Insanity. So
Yeah.
much dedication. It also cracks me up how he was chosen to do the American audiobooks, yet he's still British.
Yeah. Mhm.
I just found that really funny. Anyway, Half-Blood Prince. I like the movie's interpretation of this scene. If for no other reason, I think it might be better. I like it more just because of Jim Broadbent.
Yeah, that's
don't
fair.
think-
I think
I
this
think
is a
the
good
book is
movie
more
versus film.
detailed.
Yeah.
I think the book is more detailed, but I think the movie actually does the scene better just because of Jim Broadbent's performance.
I agree, and it's also cool to see the visual of Hermione just like looking worse for wear as the task goes on. I think I might have missed something here though, and I'm trying to look at this of Does it say what Harry smells with the love potion? And I missed
A
it.
flower, yes. He smells. I don't remember the first one, but three smells. There's one. Second one is the wood from a broom, and the third one is a flowery scent that he couldn't quite land identification, but he could tell that it was from the burrow. And then later on in the book, Ginny, like same chapter, Ginny walks by and he and Harry noticed the scent.
That's what I'm saying. But
So
I guess I missed it
another
when I was listening to it.
I guess also Half-Blood Prince is also Snape's first lesson. I kind of ignored that piece. But we do get the best sassy moment that needs to be in the Max reboot if they ever do it, because it's not in the movie. Yes, said Harry stiffly. Yes, sir. There's no need to call me sir, Professor.
Sir, Professor.
The words
line.
had escaped him before he knew what he was saying. Several people gasped, including Hermione. But behind Snape, however, Ron, Dean, and Seamus grinned appreciatively.
That's so good.
It's really good. And like half of the things Harry says in this book come out of his mouth before he knows what he was saying. Which I'm a little ahead, but that's how he asked Luna to the Slug Christmas party. He's like, do you want to go to the Slug Christmas party with me? And he's like, the words escaped his mouth before he knew what he was saying. Harry, my boy. That's Jim Dale's Slughorn. It's great. They also add a line in the movie that it might just be a Jim Broadbent. I don't know where it came from, but when they're looking at his potion, they drop the leaf in it and it incinerates. And then Jim Broadbent goes, Merlin's beard, it's perfect. I say a drop would kill us all.
Yeah, that's a Jim Broadbent exclusive.
Yeah, it's a Jim Broadbent exclusive. It's just so good. Noises. But I might have found it. So Harry's talking about all the writing in the Half-Blood Prince's book.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Slughorn could have handed me that book, but no, I get the one no one's ever written on. Puked on by the look of page 52. That was Ron. Hang on, said a voice close by Harry's left ear, and he caught a sudden waft of that flowery smell he had picked up in Slughorn's dungeon. He looked around and saw that Ginny had joined them.
Subtle.
Yeah.
Also, Ginny's history, it's also Ginny's history, though. It's like, wait a second, you're taking orders from a book someone wrote.
Yeah.
Just immediate callback to her experience in Chamber of Secrets.
I did not think about that. Wild.
Just thoughts for time. House of Gaunt.
Love it.
Jim Dale's Ogden.
Amazing.
Quite. I didn't love it, but that's fine.
Of who?
His characterization of Ogden.
Oh, yeah, he sounded like a little baby.
It's just another voice that he had to throw together, so he gets a pass. But gosh,
I mean, terrible story.
Horrible story.
Tragic. Tragic.
I love getting a little bit of I feel like a hypocrite saying this because I complained about another franchise and an origin story for like a character that I care nothing about. I was like, why would I read that book? It's all about, when you think about the Hunger Games, I'm like, why would I want to read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? I'm like, it's about the worst character in the entire franchise. Why would I want to read an entire origin story about his character? But then I read this chapter and I'm like, no, I really liked that chapter because I got a little bit of a backstory into Tom Riddle's family.
I liked Ballad. I like this Ballad is why too. I disagree with
the movie, but
I disagree with fandom because one of the main extra Harry Potter stuff that fans ask for and make fan films for and fan fiction is Voldemort origins.
I don't necessarily need like a whole movie by
If they do this right, we don't need one.
It's
Right.
right here.
Yep.
They did
Yeah.
it.
You
They
just need a
didn't
little
do it
glimpse.
They didn't
Little
do it
glimpse.
sufficiently enough in the movie.
No.
We need to
They-
see him on a
well,
broomstick.
It's passable, but the book does so much more. He doesn't play Quidditch.
No, but that's what they're wanting for an origin story. Like we want to see that. I want to see him put deodorant on. Okay. I want to see.
Flowery scent.
I
What
wanna
does
see-
Voldemort smell
yeah.
in a love potion?
I don't know.
Snake
Maybe
sour.
it's like the family therapist in me, but I'm like, I don't really want a whole lot about Voldemort, but I'm curious to know what his family was like.
Terrible.
I mean, we saw the glimpse of this, and I think that's why I
Exactly.
enjoy this chapter so much. Is it's a really tragic story that has these kinds of consequences, because the daughter was considered to be a squib
Yeah.
just because her magic hadn't developed yet. But she was the bane of her father's existence. Her brother is crazy.
And all of this, and this is wild, and I understand why they chose to cut this on the writing room floor for the movie, is this because of inbreeding.
Yeah.
And when they're describing each Gaunt character, they're describing how they're kind of misshapen or they're manic. Marvelo's arms are kind of too long, and he's balding, and all these things. And Merope's eyes don't work together. Really gruesome stuff. And Dumbledore points it out at the end that they've reached this manic state because of constant marrying between cousins,
Mm,
forced marriages and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it shows that pure bloodness just isn't gonna happen. It's not gonna work.
hmm Which I think also another thing that goes into this is just how this goes into like Hogwarts legacy, because we learn about the Gaunt family,
Mhm.
you know. And I'm trying to remember what his name is that we meet. I can't remember.
It's been a bit.
Ominous. Ominous
Yes.
Gaunt. Okay.
I was like, it's a weird word.
And he's he's trying to break the chains of how his family operates, because I mean they were into some pretty sick stuff, against muggles, and they talk about it here in this book of how they terrorize muggles, and just to see how far this family has truly fallen, like it's a tragic story, but it does help you to understand where Voldemort comes from. And I love the purpose of these lessons is because, like, Dumbledore said, we're gonna search for some answers. Harry replies and says, I thought you told me that you were gonna tell me everything. He says, but what we're doing here is that we're no longer going based off of facts, but of
The unknown.
seeking the truth, the unknown, doing guesswork. And to me, like, I was like, oh man, this is
Love
super cool.
Dumbledore.
I love this chapter. And so all of those things come into play in this. But even the tragedy of Voldemort's mother, that really hit me too, because
Mhm.
because of how she looked and who she was, she couldn't find love. So she had to do a love potion or Imperious Charm. And Dumbledore thinks that it's a love potion. And then she eventually says, well, hopefully he loves me by now. And he doesn't. Just, man, just it's really sad.
And also, like, Tom Riddle Sr. is a really bad example of the Muggle population too. And that has to have driven Tom Riddle Voldemort further into his villainous persona.
Yeah.
And as we see later in the book, he obviously thinks that his dad must have been the wizard because his mom wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. I love that Dumbledore has the ring at the in his room, and Harry's immediately putting two and two together. It's really good. Hermione's helping hand.
I liked this scene in the movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's cute. Yeah.
It's really good. Ginny was great in that scene even.
True.
Cormac McLagan's not that bad. I don't think.
You definitely hate him more.
He's just a little prideful.
Yeah.
He's a bit prideful.
You definitely dislike him more in the film. I don't think you do as much in the book for sure.
Hagrid is so sad.
I know.
Because of Aragog. It's not even because of them. I mean, it is kind of, but he's kind of like just more sad about Aragog.
Sometimes people got other stuff going on too.
I just love the private stuff between Ron and Hermione. Oh, sorry, Harry and Hermione, where he's like, if you ask me, I think Cormac was confounded.
Yeah.
And Hermione's like just trying to shake it off and stuff.
Well, and then, because kind of in this section, kind of growing, kind of building is the flaying of Ron and Lavender Brown, right? And so, and we get the little hints even of Hermione just like, not about that. And, they kind of both take their first shots, and it's great.
I, for one, and transitioning us into chapter 12, am very happy to note that we don't have to see a written out tension between Harry and Snape.
That is true. I
don't need
would
it.
not have enjoyed that.
I don't need it. And I like that Demels is just like, he says you're coming to his office at 8:30 tonight, no matter how many party invitations you've received. And he wanted you to know you'll be sorting out rotten flopperworms from good ones, and there's no need to bring protective gloves. Harry's like, right. Thanks a lot, Demelza. Harry's growing up a bit. There's no issues. There's no plot. No need to cover it. I like... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Harry trying out different spells from the book.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. Levicorpus was funny.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'd rather you set the alarm clock.
But then Ron thinks it's hilarious like an hour later.
Right. Everything's funnier when you're not tired.
Well, I like the little back and forth. It's like, was this spell by any chance another one from that potion book of yours? She asked. Harry frowned at her. Always jumping to the worst conclusions, don't you? Was it? Well, yeah, it was, but so what?
It does kind of backfire really badly though when Sectum Sempra is used. Yeah. Which is further proof that Snape is the worst. I felt I remember being blown away when I learned that Snape was the Half-Blood Prince, but in the movie he does it better in the book. But that reveal, but it feels so obvious because Levicorpus is literally what James uses on Snape. And obviously James isn't the Half-Blood Prince, he's pureblood, which would lead you to think that he got it from someone. And of course he's using Snape's own spell against him as a practical joke.
Yeah.
But I think Harry does make a decent point. If he'd be a budding Death Eater, we wouldn't be boasting about being half-blood, would he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Silver Opals. I think the movie also does it a little bit better than just the horror aspect of the cursed necklace scene
Yeah.
and the intensity, and then the scene afterwards is also more.
This is just another why does nobody ever believe Harry? Like
I agree.
Yeah.
McGonagall.
It's probably
Come
one of
on.
my favorite lines from all of the movies that's not in the book. Is why is it when something happens, it's always you three? And Ron's like, believe me, Professor, been asking the same question for 6 years.
Yep. Such a good scene.
Great scene.
And I like that Hagrid's just kind of there and jumps in quickly, and he also makes the right call to touch it by the wrappings, not the necklace. Because I think Hagrid is more smart than people make him out to be sometimes. Even the books.
Mm-hmm.
I think the books kind of make him out to be a lovable dummy at points, and over emotional and all these things. And I just I feel like he is both. He's got all those lovable qualities, but he's also more than. I mean, Dumbledore trusts him to protect Harry
absolutely.
by himself. So he should be he is capable. If you're talking about weird appointments to teaching appointments from Headmaster Dumbledore, though, Hagrid is definitely one of those. Has to be mentioned because Grubbly Plank is definitely a better teacher. I forgot about Harry and Mundungus.
Yep.
Harry
Wild stuff.
goes to town. Crazy. This is random. Fun reference. I love J.K. Rowling's ly adverbs when she's describing how people speak. And I don't think anyone does it as well as she does. Like sometimes Harry will say something tersely. Never know. I've never seen that word anywhere but in a Harry Potter book, I think. And then Hermione sometimes, very rarely, but in this chapter, she says, because Ron's looking for Madame Rosmerta, his crush, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And he's like, "Nothing." And then Hermione says, "I expect nothing's in the back getting more fireworksy," said Hermione waspishly.
Washbishly.
I love washbishly. I can't say it, but it's good. There's just always so many. And then Ron ignored this jibe, sipping his drink in what he evidently considered to be a dignified silence.
Also, I wasn't here last week, but I would like to comment on, like, we were talking about Mundungus and, him going and stealing Sirius's stuff, which is actually Harry's stuff now. I completely forgot that Dumbledore tested whether or not Grimmauld Place belonged to Harry by bringing Kreacher in to see if Kreacher would obey Harry. And then Harry's like, "Kreacher, shut up." And then Kreacher's just like banging his head around. And I was like, I completely forgot about that scene. But what a genius way of trying to figure out if everything belongs to Harry now.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Leanne, a character that I stole and utilized in a different way for one of our writing room series.
You unlocked your true potential.
Happy birthday, Leanne.
Yeah, happy birthday, Leanne.
Yeah, go check out those episodes if you haven't yet. Because those are
what if Harry Potter was in Slytherin, the Hermione Granger series, part 1 and 2.
I have people ask me all the time if we just reread the books and talk about the books, or if we just like talk about the movies. And I'm like, no, we like do other fun stuff too. And then I have to explain like writing rooms and like what ifs and like all the other things that we do. And they're like, oh, it actually sounds pretty cool. And I'm like,
character studies, all that.
Yeah. See, we got to make it fun.
We're more than just a pretty face.
Yep.
But at the same time, we got to cover the books too.
Yes.
And we have
and
we've been going years and we have yet to even watch the movies yet.
Yeah, we haven't even touched them yet.
It's in the plans, but
Mhm.
we haven't even watched the movies yet. So much content.
Like we've never seen them. We don't even know what. Like
I should have
We're-
known. I was walking myself into that.
we're
one.
purists and true fans.
Can you imagine
Never
if we
watched
did
the
this
movies.
podcast and had never seen the movies?
Mhm.
I wonder if the movies like this, like every single book episode. It'd be nice if we had a. Be
Like,
nice
I
if we had like a
can't-
movie. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for this scene to be in the movie. Can't wait
Can't
to see
wait
it
for
come
Peeves
to
the
life.
Poltergeist to be in the movies.
Yeah. I
Um,
can't wait to see the Harry and Ginny romance just blossom beautifully and done well.
I can't wait to see the awkward scene where Ron has to watch Harry and Hermione make out in like smoke form
Mm.
in the Deathly Hallows.
that happened in the book too.
I know.
That
I
one.
can't
was,
wait to see
you'd
Harry
think that
break
one
the
was in the
Elder
movie.
Wand. To keep the Elder Wand to put it back in the tomb.
I'm still 50-50 about that. We'll
No,
get to it.
I know. I'm
still
We're not,
I'm
we're not
on,
there yet. We're not there yet.
I'm
No.
on team Daniel Radcliffe for that character and in the film.
And
it
I,
makes
well,
sense
yes,
for
I
him
think
to do
I think it.
So,
yes, I
yeah.
think it's true for each aspect
Yeah.
character. But yes, we will be wrapping up today. Thank you so much for listening. We do have other episodes. Go to our extensive back catalog if book reading's
Mhm.
not your thing. But
No
we
movie
love the
reviews.
book. Never, except for Fantastic Beasts. But
Yeah.
we love the books, and I hope that you guys are having a good time as well. Next week, we will be going through chapters 13 through 18. So you can also see we're posting the reading guides with every episode post on the Instagram. So if you just scroll right, it'll show the reading guide. There it is. You can get the audiobook, get the Jim Dale one. Don't be a crazy person.
Mhm.
Listen to that on your morning and evening commutes if you're old people like us.
You could also find, a great one on YouTube, apparently. Ask Cole Harris.
No, Cole is. There's a reason Cole is
We've
Ringo.
saved him.
and Maybe
We've
that's
saved
it.
him.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
it.
Reason Cole is Ringo.
But thank you so much for listening. On behalf of David, Abby, and myself, lasagna managed.
Wait, so then why am I George, the one everybody forgets?
You're George.
Is it
just
'cause I'm
by
a
process-
woman?